Getting a divorce in California is easy with MyDivorcePapers.com. Under California divorce law, one spouse must live in California for at least 6 months before a divorce can be filed. Also, a waiting period goes into effect 6 months after the documents have been served or the appearance by the divorcee before the divorce is finalized. Once the residency requirement is completed, a legal grounds for a divorce must be established. In California, there are 2 acceptable grounds for a divorce. They are considered a no-fault divorce and a general divorce. No-fault reasons for divorce in California include irreconcilable differences, which have caused the irremediable breakdown of the marriage. Irreconcilable differences are determined by the court and are based upon how truly unlikely the matter is to be irreconcilable. The general reasons for divorce include, but are not limited to, incurable insanity. For incurable insanity to be established, there has to be a measure of documentation, such as competent medical or psychiatric testimony, and that there is no hope of regaining sanity. However, no spouse deemed legally insane is exempt from having to fulfill their legal obligations, including child and/or spousal support, if any. California does not require a parenting plan when deciding matters of child custody. On many occasions, a court will rule in the best interest of the child. In many cases, it grants joint custody. The California court often considers the health and safety of the child and the willingness of the parents to allow the child to maintain an open and loving relationship with the other parent, among other considerations. Child support in California is often based on the income information provided on the state W-2 forms of each parent, with the parent having the highest income often being responsible for any child support awarded. When it comes to property distribution, California uses a community property distribution model. All property acquired during the marriage is combined and then divided in a 50-50 split if an agreement cannot be reached. All of this kind of property is referred to as joint or community property, unless proof of sole ownership can be provided to the courts. Property gained together is presumed to be community property, which affects the burden of proof. This can then be rebuked by an obvious statement in the paperwork for that property that declares that the property is solely that of the individual and not community property, or written proof that the spouses have made an agreement that the property is that of an individual and not community property. Any debts accumulated after this date of separation, but prior to the decision made by the courts regarding the divorce or legal separation, are confirmed as such. Debts accumulated through the cost of living for both spouses, as well as the needs of any children, without proof stating otherwise, is determined by who is more able to pay the debt at the time in which it was accumulated. Debts accumulated for non-necessities for either spouse or for any children will be determined without offsetting any support the court may issue to the spouse who incurred the debt. Debts acquired after the motion for divorce has been filed, but before a ruling by the courts, will be confirmed without offset to the spouse who acquired the debt. Spousal support is managed on a case-by-case basis and can range from not being awarded at all to permanent support, depending on any agreement between the spouses or by the court. Additionally, if the state feels that there is a possibility of reconciliation, then the court may impose a 30-day waiting period in the proceedings to provide that opportunity. In applying the statewide uniform guideline, the courts will abide by the following principles: the ability of the spouses to maintain the same standard of living during the marriage, taking into account the marketability of any skills the supported party has, the likelihood of employment with those skills, the necessary time and expenses needed to acquire marketable skills, and the possible need for retraining or education to develop those or other marketable skills or employment. How the employability of the supported employee as it related to time spent unemployed to perform domestic duties. Visit us today at www.mydivorcepapers.com and click on the link for California on the bottom of the page. Let mydivorcepapers.com help you file for a divorce in California today.